So, a lot of times in real estate, you can't get traditional financing. So we're going to talk about what is seller carry financing. I'm going to talk about a number of things with seller carry financing and how you can make money and have the seller help you. So let's go. So in seller carry financing, we're going to talk about the why, the how to structure it, and I'm going to give you some examples. At the end of this video, I'll talk to you specifically about a property I'm buying right now, 60 units in Colorado with seller carried financing and how that deal was structured. So let's dive right in. First and foremost, the why. Why do you want to have seller financing? There's a number of reasons, but the most common reason is because the property can't get traditional financing. Maybe it's in disrepair, or maybe it is something that a lender won't lend on because it just needs too much work, or maybe it's in a remote area where lenders won't lend. So in other words, you can't get debt on the property. That's one reason. Another reason is because it benefits the seller. The seller, if they sell the property, gets all this cash. Where are they going to put it and make 4, 5, 6, 7% on seller financing? They're not. So by carrying the note on the property, meaning that when the property's sold, instead of you going to a bank, the seller is your bank and the seller carries the financing for you, meaning they put the loan on the property and you pay them interest on that loan, or principal and interest depending on the structure, which we'll talk about. Another reason why sellers may carry the financing is because they just have huge tax implications by selling the property. And so by spreading the return out over many years, they may be able to reduce some of their tax liability or spread their tax liability out over many years. And finally, another reason is because sometimes when people are older, they want to pass on an estate. So they may sell the property so the heirs don't have to manage the property, but to just get the income from a note because they don't want to take the gain right now. So lots of different reasons for seller carry. And so let's go into how it's done and what it means. So how is it done? The title company and the escrow company, or the attorney, depending on what state you're in, will prepare a promissory note and the deed of trust. Those two things are recorded at the county recorder's office. And just like a regular mortgage, this is the documents that you will have that are recorded, making you the person who is now going to pay the interest and principal to who? The seller. So instead of a bank coming in here, normally we would have a bank that does this, right? The bank is not included. It's the seller that's doing it instead of the bank. And it's a very simple process, and the seller just gets the payments instead of a bank from you on a monthly basis. Okay, so how are these things structured? They're typically structured in a way to where they can either be interest only or principal and interest. Interest only means that whatever you borrow, you just pay the interest on it. So let's say, for example, you borrowed $100,000 at 10%. 10% of $100,000 is $10,000. So you would pay $833.33 a month, right? Because 10% is $10,000 a year divided by 12. It comes out to 833.33. Look at your calculator. I'm right. Done it too many times. So the structure is that you're going to pay interest or principal, and at the end of some time period, you're going to have what's called a balloon payment. A balloon payment means everything is done. In other words, it may be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years where you pay it off, okay? That's typical in these structures. They typically have balloon payments. So these notes are all going to have a term. How long is the note for? 15, 5, 3. Typically they're 3, 5, 7. I don't recommend that you have seller carry financing less than 3 in most cases, because you're going to need time to take out that loan with the balloon payment. And so be sure that you have enough time and runway to either get the property value up, or get the cash flow up, or get the repairs done. And remember that the real estate market fluctuates. So when you're doing seller carry financing, make sure you give yourself enough time. I'm Paul McGuire. Make sure you subscribe so you can learn more about how to invest in real estate. And in a second, I'm going to go over some examples of deals I'm doing right now and past deals and how that seller carry financing was structured and what it is and how to use it. So make sure you subscribe. All right, so here's two examples of seller carry financing and what it looked like. In this case, I was buying the property and the person selling it to me was carrying the property. In this first example, I bought 11 units for $1,950,000 from an elderly gentleman. He was in his 90s and he wanted to pass on the property because he realized at some point he's going to pass away and he was getting close to that time. So he sold me the property. I put $500,000 down and he carried a note for $1,450,000 at 5% interest only payments for 60 months or 5 years. Okay, so the formula is $1,450,000 times 5% gives you a number, divided that by 12, and the monthly payment was $6,041. So every month I've been paying $6,041. I closed this deal in 2019. Because it's seller carry financing, there's no restriction on junior financing in this deal, meaning that I could get a second later if I wanted to. He would be in first position. What's a second? A first is the first deed of trust or a loan against the property. The second would be something behind that or a second loan. So I may have a big first loan, and in this case I have a $250,000 second loan, okay? So in this particular example, this person, because of estate planning, sold the property with seller financing. Now the other thing is the property was not lendable in the condition it was in when I bought it. It had some termite damage, some repairs, deferred maintenance or maintenance that had been deferred for years, and it needed a lot of work. So I renovated the property, and today the property, having sold to me for $1,950,000, is probably worth somewhere between $2.6 and $2.8 in terms of value because of three things. Number one, the condition of the property is much better than when I bought it. I improved it. Two, I now have operational numbers and the ability to show any bank what the property is worth. And three, inflation has made the property go up in time. And the bonus, of course, is because I have improved the property, I now get more rent for the property. So I'm able to charge more than he was because I have a better asset and a better property to sell. Think of a high-end apartment, a mid-range apartment, a beat-up old apartment. They all get different rents. Well, it's the same with rental property, right? In this next example, this is a property that I'm buying right now. So this is another seller financing. This property is 60 units in Colorado. It's $12,500 a door, which is ridiculously low, okay? The reason it's $12,500 a door, it's in a very small town, and it's got two buildings, and one of the buildings is not occupied. It needs to be fixed and renovated. It needs some massive repairs. So I'm buying this property with 30 units that are occupied and 30 units in upside that could potentially be renovated and fixed by me investing capital to make them again operational, meaning they could be rented again. They can't be rented the way they are right now. So what happened to those other 30 units was it's in Colorado, it's in the high country, so the property is at 5,000–6,000 feet. They get snow, it gets cold, they get freezing, and the plumber never showed up in time to put in what? Winterize the building because it was vacant. So all the water in the pipes froze, damaged all the plumbing in the whole building. So that's the main problem with the second building. So in this case, it was $775. I'm putting $250 down, and the seller's going to carry $525. Now, why is he carrying $525? Because one, I asked him to, and two, because it's very difficult to finance a property like this, where one building is non-operational. I could get a private money loan, but because it's in more of a smaller town in Northwest Colorado, a lot of lenders are shy of that. So in some areas, we talked about earlier, seller carry financing won't work in some areas because nobody wants to lend there. There's not enough economic activity. So in this case, he's going to carry the financing. I'm putting $250 down, and my loan is $525, and he carried at 4.25%, which is $189 a month for 60 months. This individual, also in his 70s, has some failing health, wants to get rid of these properties. I have another property I'm closing with him next month, wants to get rid of these properties in order to produce cash flow for him and his estate. He doesn't want to manage them. He doesn't want to deal with them. he wants to get rid of them. He's what we call a don't wanter. He doesn't want the property, but he does like the note because the note is easily passed on in his estate to his heirs or his children. And the income is easily passed on, just like this individual. They're going to get a check every single month. Why do banks love to lend on residential real estate? Because they get a check every single month, just like who? Just like you when you own them. They want the check, okay? So I'm an experienced operator. I will take this building here and I will fix it and repair it and get it in good shape. This building appraised for, and sold for actually $1.9 million several years ago. And now I'm buying it for $775,000. Why? Because of the one building and being in disrepair. The state of the situation there. Where I'm going to talk about more about investing in real estate and wealth building. And I hope you enjoy these videos because it takes a lot of time and effort to put them together. And if you like, subscribe, comment, refer your friends. Remember, real estate can be very profitable, but you got to learn how to earn in real estate. And that's why I made all these videos to help you. So I hope you watch them and I hope you enjoy them.